flexible solution task in Harbor, Quebec. Hello there everybody and welcome to a very special episode of SnowRunner here at Overfed Gaming. I am the Overfed. We are driving the Avenhorn A15 here up at the old factory where we are picking up a coiled tubing semi-trailer. Now we are going to deliver that to the oil platform as part of the flexible solution task, which is part of the I'm probably gonna not pronounce this properly, but it's part of the Patrol a Platform Quebec contract. So that's what we're going to attempt to do, and then the second stage of the task is to refuel the Slider STX 816 Elephant truck. And that will all be done at the MacKenzie Shipyard. Well, we backed her in and we got it hooked up to the coiled tubing semi-trailer, and boy, I tell you, this is a big one. This is going to be a long, tough journey. We got a bunch of ice that we got to crawl over, we got hills that we got to climb, and we got all sorts of problems that we got to try and avoid. So slow go is the only way to do it. Oh, hey, well, I guess those boxes didn't like me driving that close by them. Slow go is the way to go, and just take her easy, and as long as we don't flip the trailer and we don't get the truck stuck in the ice, well, or we get stuck in the mud or in the snow, we might be able to successfully deliver it to the oil platform. The oil platform is where we gotta bring it to way down south from where we are. Now it's gonna be a disaster almost just leaving the factory yard. I mean, you gotta snake out of here to the left, to the right, and you know, it's a good thing that we're using the Avenhorn, because the Avenhorn's got a really short frame, giving us the best chance of making it around this corner. But it's really tight and it's tough. So when you get a spot like this, just climb a little bit on the hill on the opposite side, but go slow. And if you go slow, a lot of times I try not to look back at the back end of the trailer, and hopefully it'll just follow me. But so we get around that one corner, and then right away you get stuck around this corner again, and then you got another corner down below where we are going to climb onto the ice. Now, there are probably more than one way to go over the ice. However, I chose the path that I chose for several reasons. One, I know that on the right hand side of the rocks here, I know it's solid. I'm not sure what it's like on the left hand side, so I just kind of overshoot it a little bit, and then I back it up, turn the wheels, and then try to pull it in over a little tighter, because I want to be on this side of the rocks. It's a little bit tough because some of these shards are frozen solid and they don't move, so they stay where they are, and when you do climb over top of them, you got to do it slowly so you don't get any damage. Just remember that when you try to climb over, and sometimes it's a little tough, as you can see right here. I'm having a little bit of a problem getting through, but I don't mind having a little bit of a problem where you have to go back and forth a little bit, because at least we're not in the ice. Now when you go over the ice, and you can kind of see where the track is. Now you've seen where somebody else, probably the Overfed, fell through the ice over here and one more time up there. So I figured it'd be smart to go in between it, where the ice is a little bit more solid. Now when you do fall into the ice, like I've said many times before, if you go slow enough, you won't have a problem because you can back out of it again. And most of the ice is not too bad. Now over in this little island here, little rocky island, there again we got to stay on the left hand side of it, because it's a little more solid on this side. So we're gonna go on over here, but now we gotta do a turn to the left, and there's a couple of open holes there, and I just didn't like the looks of it, so I thought I'd take it a little bit wide. And I don't think there's really a bad place over here to cross. Everything seems fairly solid. I just didn't want to take a chance on maybe dropping the back end of the trailer into the hole to the left of me there. That's why I went over a little bit. Anyhow, we are gonna pull it out of here, and then we gotta take a sharp left up the hill. There's a lot of sharp turns back and forth, I tell you. But I made a mistake here. Now I'm supposed to go up the hill here to the right over here. And I wasn't paying attention. I don't know what I was thinking. I saw the road going up over here, and that's where I was heading to. And then I looked again, and I realized, whoa, wait a minute, that's the wrong way. We don't want to go up there. And then when I looked back, I saw the road going up, and I realized I missed my turn. But as it happened, when I backed the trailer up like this, I seemed to end up, I guess accidentally, in a much better angle for climbing the road that I did have to go onto. So it all ended up for the better. But going up this road again too is just like everything else. You got to go slow, because the trick is to keep that trailer from tipping too far to the left or the right. And they purposely made these roads a little bit tighter so that you'd have that action, so you would flip it, hopefully, and then you'd have to start again. But we don't want to do that. We want to deliver it in one go. But I tell you, it is a really tough haul, real tough haul. Oh, she's almost at the tipping point there. And then this here little, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's really, really tight to try and get it through here. And there's boulders on either side, and the trailer gets stuck on them, so you try to climb up the one side of the hill there where the snow is, and take it a little bit wider, and keep your fingers crossed and hope the Avenhorn can save the day. And I tell you, I think I picked the right truck for the job. I'm sure the Plaid would have done a good job, but I like the Avenhorn's doing good. Okay, we're almost out of here. We got to get it back down to ice level. Just at the end of this shortcut, detour. I don't know what you want to call it, but you can see the ice over there. And instead of climbing, whoa, the back tires came off the ground, and we were almost capsized. That was close. Boy, I tell you. Now here we're going to climb down to the ice. Oh, that was exciting. Almost lost it there completely. Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to do this one over, because you'd have to reset it, or I don't know how you'd flip that trailer back up on its wheels if you fell over. I mean, look at it. It's pretty big. It's a pretty big trailer. Anyhow, we made it through okay, and we're going to try and drive along the side of the ice here. Well, we don't have a problem here, but we're going to be at ice level here in a second. And we've got to drive along the side of the ice until we get to a junction up ahead where the ice kind of covers the lake, and you can cross. Well, that's the theory anyhow. That's the theory, and that's what we're going to try. So, but here again too, when you're driving along the side of the ice, you know, if you drive close enough to the edge, and here I'm pulling a big trailer and I don't fall through, if I can do it with the Avenhorn, you can certainly give it a shot just with a Scout, and then you'll see that a lot of these areas are safe to drive on. Like you can tell that right there ahead of you, the middle, you know you're going to fall through. But on this side, or on the other side, on the edge, if you were driving on the shards, you'd be okay too. But not in the middle there. And that's not hard to see, because you can see over here, I go a little bit too far over and I start to fall through it. So then I just go back. So we got to stay on the side. We got no choice. We have to go in that direction. we can't go in. We can't back up. We can't turn it around. We only got forward. That's all we got. Which is one of the reasons that the overfed does not like to pull a trailer. Because if we make a mistake, we can't turn it around. Now as you can see up ahead, I've fallen through once already. So if you've fallen through, don't go in the same spot. Move over a little bit to the other side and hopefully it'll be a little bit more solid over there. Now we got to go a little further forward. We're not going up into the hill here, but the middle there didn't look very safe to me. So I thought I'd stay on the side here and I'll pull the back end of the trailer through that broken part. That wasn't a problem. And here we're going to be okay. Now we're coming up pretty close to where the ice crossing is. Which is where I think, see here again too, you see the hole right in front, so either go to the right or left. It's got to be more solid than the hole through the ice. Well, we made it through the toughest part. Now, I think we did about half of the drive so far, but the toughest part's still coming, I believe. The toughest part is still coming. Now, just up ahead there, you can see that the ice covers, well, most of the water across, and that's where we're going to have to make it to the other side, because it's the only place where you can cross. So we have to get across there. And if you wanted a direction of where the port is, it's way to the left, but we got to cross the ice, go to the right, climb up the hill to get to the highway, and then drive to the left all the way to the port. But first things first, where are we going to cross? So I figured if the shards we know are going to be solid, so let's stay over here where the shards are. And as soon as we get past that hole on the left, straighten out a little bit and climb onto the shards over there. And just pull it around to the right. Just like that. Oh, see, there's just enough room to get through there. Just enough room. And over here, it's pretty solid over here if you stay here again, read the ice properly. Just like that. And you can see my trusty old Tuz sitting there. Like I say many times on my videos, never recover your vehicles, leave them where they are. You can always recover them when you need them. If you don't recover them, they might be exactly where you need them to be. You can use them as a rescue vehicle, and you can use them as a mobile fuel station. So don't bring them back to the garage, just leave them sit until you need them again. Now this is going to be one tough climb. It's really, really steep, and doing it, pulling nothing is already hard enough as it is. So this, I think, is the toughest part of the job, besides the really tight turns where the trailer really slants to the left or the right. That's really difficult. Now over here you can pretty well see where the track goes, so we're going to try and cut it as far to the right as possible so that the off track won't slide off the track here once we go around the corner. Just like that. And then we're going to have to, see, the track goes around those rocks to the left, but we have been driving over top. Now we might get that trailer high centered because it's a pretty steep bump, and first we're up against that rock, so That's not going to help us any. We're going to have to try and go forward a little bit further before we turn. We can't go around the left side of those rocks. It's just not going to happen because it's just too much of an angle. We have to go over the top, and preferably not over the rocks, because that's just going to make things harder. Okay, let's give it a shot. Right here. Now the best thing to do is just go as far as you can, and then if you get stuck, you can always winch yourself. You got 2 trees on the side of the hill there that we can pull on. But see, it looks like that's it. Looks like we're stuck. Well, we're not stuck. We're high centered. So we're just going to put the winch onto the very back of the trailer and put it onto that front tree. Right there. And we got to look at where we're going, and as soon as we go over that crest, as soon as we're loose, I'll release the winch. You won't be able to see it, but I'll release the winch like right now. And then we can keep going because he's loose. Now over here we got to make a tight turn to the right, and there again, the off track. So we'll go as far to the left as we can without driving off the rocks, obviously. Make sure that the trailer doesn't drive off the rocks either. I've done that before too. And then just hopefully we can climb up this little incline. Well, we still got some trees there to winch on if we need it. Oh, and it looks like, oh, I bet you we're stuck up against a rock with the back end of the trailer. Okay. Well, best thing to do when you're in a situation like this, and if you don't want to back down and reposition because you're in an odd spot, just winch yourself past it. It'll drag the trailer past the rock. You just keep pulling it and it'll break loose. There it is. That's just a quick, easy fix. Or you can back it up and re-attack the hill, I suppose. Okay, now we got one more little mud pit, but the worst part now, thankfully, is behind us, because that climbing of that hill, that was tough. Boy, I tell you, that's a long hill to be dragging a big trailer like this up there. Because right up ahead there's the highway, the ice road, the ice road highway, the main thoroughfare, the main artery, the one that we were trying to get to. Because this one here, all we have to do is follow it out. There again, easier said than done, but all we have to do is follow this out, and that'll lead us right into the MacKenzie Shipyard port. Port in Harbor, Quebec. If we hang a left, you could bring you right to the garage. So we're heading south now, and the port is pretty much south of the garage and a little bit to the east, I believe. But there again, you're driving on an ice road, and we're going to be going downhill. And just because you got chains, don't think that they'll stop you from sliding when you're on an ice road. So when you go downhill, make sure you go a little bit slower, because all that weight in that trailer behind you will not be stopped by a few little chains on your tires, I'll tell you that. So you got to go a little slower, gear down, and just drive a little bit more carefully. And we're going to make it all right in one try. It's always nice to successfully complete your delivery, although we're not there yet. We still got a little ways to go. But the hardest parts of the drive is over and behind us. It's a little tough driving a truck like this because you don't really get to see the truck that much because he's always hidden by the trailer. Now you can see the little black arrow in the yellow diamond has come on the screen, meaning that we must be getting close. But you know, sometimes when they say it's a lot closer than what it looks, well, this is one of those cases. It's not quite as close as it looks. The opposite, actually, because we got to go back and forth all the way down the hill because it's such a steep hill.
I mean, look at how high we are, and that's the port down below there to the right. But we'll be there in a few minutes. And like I said, here we're going to start our descent, and I'm going to shift it down into the high range of the low gear. And I'm going to try and use as much of the road as possible, the whole width of it, so that my off track will make it around the corners without too much of a problem, and keep the speed down. Just keep it going a little bit slower than normal. We made it around that corner all right. That's the first one down, and there's the port now. Oh, in the distance, the oil platform. Well, we got a couple more turns to go. Like I always say, I'd rather be there half an hour later and try to race for a few minutes and maybe not make it there at all. I mean, it'd be a shame if you did a job like this and you ended up flipping the trailer right around here. That would not be enjoyable. It would not give me quite the same satisfaction as if I delivered it all the way down to the pier. But we're gonna be okay. And this road's pretty narrow. Now, could you imagine if you were pulling it with a truck, like say maybe the Kenworth 963 with that long frame? It'd be even harder to make these turns. So, no, all the big trucks or the big trailers have got to be pulled by short frame trucks like the Avenhorn or the Plaid, or the Mac Defense did a pretty good job for us the other day with that fuel trailer. So, I believe this is our second last turn over here, and that'll bring us down to the bottom, I believe. Now there again too, if you did do this with the Kenworth, you'd have a lot more trouble driving this ice road too, having no chains. Now the Kenworth is pretty good in the snow and okay on the ice road, but the minute you put any weight on him, he just slides everywhere. So that's just an out. You can't use that. But we're almost here. Almost job successfully completed. As we're getting close to the port. The port of Harbor, Quebec. And then we'll be working on our new task. We've got one more tunnel on this map that has not been opened, and it's part of the contracts because there's still a few tasks available that need to be done in Lake Riviere and in Harbor, but they're locked behind tasks of the contract. So we're starting the contracts. And with that, we're trying to get the jobs done so that we can have the last tunnel open, making delivery of cargo back and forth a little bit easier. But first we got to get this Coiled Tubing Semi-Trailer to the port. Now we got a little bit of rubble on the road here, but really nothing to worry about. But I get so wrapped up in the game and in making the delivery, and I did it again, and I'm watching, and we're running along, and I look down and we only got 17 liters of fuel left. I forgot we got lots of spare fuel, but I forgot all about fueling up. That's amazing. That's twice as has happened to me now where I've not kept an eye on the fuel, but thankfully we had spare. So we'll give us a little bit of fuel and we'll continue on. We can at least finish our delivery. That'd be a shame if we couldn't finish it because we ran out of fuel. Then we'd have to send a truck out with a jerry can of gasoline or diesel fuel to get them going again. but that's not the case. We're just gonna snake down here and deliver this trailer, and then the second stage of this task is to refuel the Slider SD816 Elephant. And once we've refueled that, that truck becomes ours, and we will bring it to the garage and paint it in our fleet colors as we're making our final turn into the MacKenzie Shipyard. I think we'll take the right hand side here, because we are going to go right into the middle, and then we'll go in between the buildings. There's a crane in there, but there's enough room to get around that loading crane. So we're going to go right in the middle of it. There's a little bit more room, and then we don't have to worry about a little turn at the end to get onto the single pier. Just see there's a loading crane right there, but if we could straighten it out just before that. We just got to go straight to the end of the pier there, and then we'll have it delivered. Absolutely awesome. But what a great task. Great delivery. I really enjoyed this video. I hope you got some tips and tricks. If you look to your left, you can see the elephant, the Slider, that we'll be picking up in a minute here. I hope you got some tips out of this, like I said, and if you just came to watch it just because you enjoy watching it, that's nothing wrong with that. That's what I used to do. But I got into playing, and now I'm busy making the videos. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed it, and hope to see you back again real soon at OpenFed Gaming. Until then, we've been delivering a coiled tubing semi-trailer to the port in Harbor, Quebec, with me as your driver, the OpenFed.